Yo, what's up, everyone? It's Josh and Jason from the Magic Guys. We're here bringing you an exclusive clip from our Patreon.
If you guys want to support us, you like what we do, you can head on over to patreon.com/the Magic Guys.
But for now, here is an exclusive clip.
Roll it.
Can we tell them the story of what happened on the way here? when the lady asked if we were putting fuel in our car.
Poor woman. So we're at the servo station. I felt like such an asshole too. Like it was not intentional.
We pulled up to the servo because we normally will before the podcast and we'll grab like an energy drink or something. And we got up to the counter. And something with Jason is he is always very flamboyant, like in his natural habitat. Like he'll always just chat with everyone that walks past him or is near him. Like when we went to buy the headphones the other week, you were like chatting to the guy that was in the same aisle and he didn't even know he was chatting to you. You're like, no worries, Chief. I'll just scoot by you there. Good stuff. That's a good choice. And like, I don't think he knew yet that he was having a conversation with you.
Yeah, they love it. They love it.
The other week when we stopped into the petrol station, you made that lady's day talking about her tattoos. This older lady.
Yeah, she was cool. Yeah,
had some tattoos, and she even told us a joke, right? When she was talking about kids,
she's funny.
She's like, these tattoos are of my kids. And you're like, oh, you have 6 kids? And she's like, yeah, the ones that I claim. They're the ones I claim. But then today he did the same thing, chatting to the server lady. And she
asked at the checkout. We're at the checkout and she goes, is there any fuel with that? And I said, no fuel. I mean, kind of fuel. And I adjusted to the energy drinks being fuel. And she's like, yes, liquid Fluel. she slipped over her tongue. Yeah. And I was, me being the dick, I was like, yeah, got to get that liquid Fluel. I think the worst part about it was though, is that as soon as she said it, I could see it on her face where she was like, please tell me you didn't notice that. Yeah. And then I immediately followed up with liquid Fluel.
In that moment, we were both trying not to lose it.
Yeah, I just felt like such a dick. The poor woman. And needless to say, we still left on good terms. But it's just as we left, I'm like, we got to get out of this shop, man. I can't be in here anymore. Poor woman. She's had a long day working in the servo.
As soon as we're out of the store, we just lost it, like all the way back to the car. Liquid Fluel.
Liquid Fluel. Like she said, liquid Fluel, as if like fuel is typically not liquid.
Yeah, like what else is it?
I felt really bad there. Like she was a sweet woman, and there's me just being a fucking dick.
If this is the thing where like, if we were a really popular podcast and we had merch, I would make a shirt called Fluel. Just because it's so funny.
Liquid Fluel.
Liquid Fluel, everyone.
This summer, one man sends a question to the Magic Guys. In a world where the Magic Guys answer questions, Scotty P. Roll the clip.
What's going on, guys? My name's Scott Painter, and clearly I'm fancy because according to Josh, people who have pet goats are fancy. Now, my question for you guys is this. Given that Magic has moved from performing to spectators to performing online to a camera, how have you overcome the problem of needing to misdirect? Is it hard cuts? Is it doing slides off out of frame? Or is it changing the routine itself? That's what I want to know. Challenges and solutions for performing to a camera as opposed to a spectator.
Well, first of all, great little intro there. Nice little sign.
Love the hand.
So I can tell you my take on the whole thing.
You've been doing the most video footage right now.
So when it comes to like a sleight of hand that I do live, I assume that he's saying like if you're performing in front of a camera that's on a tripod, a stationary camera, right? Because if the camera's in motion, if someone's holding the camera, nothing changes, right? Because that still moves with everything else.
Like our street magic videos.
Yeah, nothing changes. But if you're doing it on a tripod, I totally get it because you can't like get a coin and then load it onto the table while you're picking up a wand and then make it vanish because it's all stationary, so everything can be seen. You can still misdirect like that, so don't get me wrong, you can still do it, but the second time they watch it, they'll figure it out, and that's always a nightmare. So really, the tricks change.
Yeah.
So for example, I never until recently ever turned a pack of gum into a Hershey's chocolate until camera magic was a thing, and now I've done that. Now I've split the gum thing, done the split gum thing, and just silly things that you wouldn't ordinarily do live, like it's a great trick by David Regal, but it's called sudden deck, where you slowly produce this deck by printing
magic.
it out and stuff. And live, it looks just as good, if I'm honest. But I just don't do it live because to me, it just feels a little bit too... I just want to say gimmicky. It's just, whatever. This is the Patreon account, so we can be a bit more open with you guys. Yeah, it just feels a bit too gimmicky for me. But on a camera, it looks really good, really good. And there's something that you can do on camera. There's things that you can do on camera that you can't do in real life, and that is that people can't inspect things.
That's a good point. People can't inspect the objects that you're using. The other thing too is if you're filming video, like if it's pre-recorded, you actually have the luxury of being able to retake things if you're doing sleight of hand. So you can review stuff, and if something looks a little funny, as opposed to real life where you get one shot, you can actually, the positive, refilm it to make it clear and crisp. Like Scotty, for example, that might not be the first take he did of the other video we reviewed the other week of his sound and
Scotty's a
Fluel.
content creator.
And Fluel. But
Fluel.
for anyone who hasn't watched this full episode, that'll make no sense, that reference. But, you had that luxury. But if you're doing a Zoom show, for example, where it is live, you have...
Just change it up,
Yeah. I mean, one good point you made is you have this frame to work with. So it is possible that you have other things going on.
Well, you also have to remember, if it's live, they still can't rewatch it. Right.
Yeah,
it's the
which
fact.
is great.
It's the fact that people can rewatch it, which makes this direction
like
a bit
watching
shitty.
slow mo and
yeah,
rewind.
like there's a lot of things. Like there was a point at the very, very start of the 365 challenge where I was not so pedantic about it now. I still make sure that I don't flash and stuff, but I was making sure that if you watched it in slow mo, I still wouldn't flash. That's how careful I was.
Ooh, boy.
So if you go back to the very start of the challenge and you watch it from like day, I think it's from day 3 onwards, up until about like day 20, there's like 0 flashes, even if you put it in slow-mo. It's insane.
And we can tell too, because when we look at the algorithm, we can see which parts of the video are getting rewound and rewatched.
Yeah, rewatched.
So we actually know what it is you're looking for.
Yeah, you see that all the time. I always hate that too.
Yeah. So it does change the way you approach it, but for the most part, it's not changing the whole show. But what does change is if you're doing a Zoom show, for me, maybe for you as well, the material does change only because you're now doing interactive stuff, but for the fact that they can't physically interact, it has to be only visual and audio. So for that part, the content might change in the way that instead of picking a card, it might be saying stop or, tell me when to stop, more of those things.
I didn't even do that. I just typically tell them to name a card these days.
Yeah, perfect.
I just say name a card, then I just spread through and grab it out. And then, that's about as fair as you can do it. Then.
I mean, to prove the point perfectly, in your street shows, you close the show with cups and balls. And I've seen you do cups and balls in a virtual show too.
Yeah.
It's really not changing much.
Yeah, not really. Like it doesn't change a whole lot. And
yeah. All it changes is that it exposes you if you do shitty magic.
Yeah,
if you're not, if your sleights, if your material isn't up to scratch, like it just makes it very obvious, I think.
I just get good.
Yeah, just get good, then you'll be fine. Good question.
Great question. This summer, I hope that was everything you needed. Tune in next time on The Magic Guys.
Thanks for listening. It's time for us to disappear now. But we'll see you again on the next episode of The Magic Guys.